in the Bay, check in. When you hit LA, check in.
Big U, sweetheart, sweetie pie, listen. You are so disrespectful.
You're saying Whack 100 and Luce Cannon are the reason why Big U...
Big U's deleted tapes just got linked to yet another unsolved murder. And now it's crystal clear that Luce Cannon wasn't just running his mouth all these years. People used to call him crazy. But the facts are finally stacking up. This time, Big U's in serious trouble for wiping tapes that allegedly tie him to the murder of Ray Shawn Williams, better known on the streets as Tall Boy. Big U's always had that shadowy rep, moving slick behind the scenes. But no one thought he'd go this far, erasing footage tied to a cold-blooded killing. That's a whole new level. Turns out, those missing tapes might have shown exactly what happened the night Ray Shawn got taken out in Vegas. Luce has been going full blast on podcasts, YouTube, and across social media, exposing how Big U used to stage robberies, then pop up with the stolen goods, pretending like he was some kind of hero. Straight manipulation. But it gets even dirtier. Big U was apparently scrubbing surveillance footage and making sure no evidence ever saw daylight. Still, he slipped, because cops eventually found his DNA under Ray Shawn's fingernails. That's not just a clue. That's a smoking gun. There was definitely a fight. And get this, right after the murder, Big U allegedly sent people to snatch up and destroy the studio's security system. That same setup probably recorded what went down between him and Ray Shawn before it all turned deadly. As if that wasn't shady enough, Big U told everyone at the studio to stay quiet and not talk to the cops. Full silence mode. He didn't even show his face at the funeral. Totally ghosted Ray Shawn's family after everything went down.
Big uterus, I don't really, it's not my cup of tea because cuz throw rocks and hide his hand. And I'll be telling cuz we would have been straight, but you start doing police. When you start doing shit, then I'm gonna expose you. I'm saying that just cuz just knew about it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be your brother or whatever, and supposed to be your little homie and stuff like that. Why you didn't tell him that?
Now Luce's wild claims are being backed up by real investigations, criminal complaints, and even RICO level heat. This ain't looking good for Big U. Let's be real. This ain't just about one man losing it. It's about a whole setup built on fear, silence, and straight up control. The feds are saying Big U was running things like a cold-blooded business. Robberies, cover-ups, witness intimidation, all while keeping a clean face in public. And now, North Las Vegas police are saying that the missing studio footage is still a key to solving what really went down with Ray Shawn Williams. But Big U's problems go way deeper than that. He's not just being hit with charges tied to the murder. They're coming for the entire operation behind it. The whole machine. This dude used to parade around like a community leader, all positive energy and good guy talk. But just weeks ago, he turned himself into the feds. Now the mask is off, and the charges are wild. Embezzlement, fraud, robbery, extortion, and straight up RICO violations. That whole mentor to the youth image, turns out it was all a front. Big U was out here running a secret criminal empire, and the truth is spilling out fast. Just look at the Ray Shawn situation. This wasn't just an artist under his label. They had a past. Ray Shawn used to play football with Big U's son back in the day. That's right. He was a wide receiver for Crenshaw High, and his teammate was none other than Deanne, Big U's son, who later went on to play linebacker for the LA Chargers. They were close, real close. But in January 2021, Ray Shawn's body was found dumped in the Vegas desert, full of bullets and left in a ditch. The streets say Big U was one of the last people seen with him. Then just like that, Ray Shawn vanished. Gone. So what really happened? Whispers say it all started when Ray Shawn dropped a diss track aimed straight at Big U. And in those lyrics, he hinted that something might happen to him for speaking out. He said he might get popped just for calling Big U out. Chilling stuff. Just 5 days after that diss track dropped, Ray Shawn was gone. Shot in the face with a revolver, execution style. And get this, not a single shell casing was found at the scene. Clean, professional. There's no official word on whether Big U even heard the song before it happened, but right now, all eyes are on him. But this ain't just about one murder. This is part of a much bigger picture. We're talking about a full-blown organized crime setup.
I go to Chicago, I respect Chicago wholeheartedly. I check in. When I go to Atlanta, I check in. When I go places, I check in. And I don't think nobody is safe. I know dudes right now from LA who are actual gang members who have been robbed for their jewelry, who real killers. Like, who really real killers. Like, if he ever find out who did that, he gonna knock everybody down. You understand what I'm saying? You just caught slipping.
If you were an artist, athlete, or just someone moving serious money in LA, you had to check in with Big U. That's not street gossip. That's how the game worked. You needed his blessing to even breathe in the city. And guess what? That permission came with a price. Yep, Big U was charging folks for so-called protection just to operate in his territory. He even had a whole podcast called Checking In. And in the intro, he straight up rapped about it. He wasn't hiding the game, he was bragging about it. Now the feds got receipts, literally. Wiretaps, recorded calls, financial records, witness statements, even social media footprints. One of the most chilling parts? They caught Big U on tape saying that if someone doesn't answer the phone, that could be a death sentence. That's how he moved. Like a straight-up mob boss. And even with all that stacked evidence, Big U had the nerve to plead not guilty. It's wild. He's clearly gearing up for the fight of his life in court. But he didn't run this whole thing solo. Big U had a crew, and they were deep in it with him. One major front was his so-called charity, the Young Boss Foundation. Celebs like Shaq and Draymond Green were dropping big donations, thinking they were helping the youth, but behind the scenes, that cash was getting rerouted straight into Big U's pockets. A total scam dressed up as a good cause. Even city funds that were supposed to go toward gang prevention just straight up vanished. And when the feds finally made their move, they came down hard with a sting called Operation Drawdown. And 19 people got swept up in the chaos. Familiar names like Brick Baby found themselves caught up in it, along with top-level players like Bear Claw, all considered high-ranking soldiers in Big U's setup. Then you got Armani I, who's being accused of moving people around on the prosecution side. Shady business for sure, and it didn't stop there. Another duo, Frederick Blanton Jr. and Tiffany Hines, got hit for bank fraud, running fake accounts and skimming cash like it was nothing. Even Luce Cannon, the same guy who's been calling Big U out for years, got wrapped into the mess, likely because of his own gang connections. The feds weren't just knocking on doors, they came in heavy. When they raided the spots tied to Big U and his crew, they uncovered 49 firearms, a mountain of meth, 10,000 fentanyl pills, and straight up stacks of cash. That's not your average corner hustle. That's kingpin level stuff. And it doesn't stop there. The feds also linked luxury cars and high-end properties back to Big U's so-called charities. All of it was part of the scam, hiding dirty money behind a clean image. Now Big U is staring down the barrel of 20 years just for the RICO charges alone. And if they stack on the fraud, extortion, and trafficking charges, he could be locked up for life. No parole, no second chance. Just done. His arraignment is coming up fast, and everyone's watching that courtroom like it's the hottest show in the city. This case isn't just big. It could change how RICO charges are handled moving forward, and let's not forget, that dark cloud's been hanging over Big U for years. Long before he turned himself in, people were already whispering that he might have had something to do with the hit on Nipsey. Yeah, it's that deep. The story between Nipsey Hussle and Big U, it all traces back to none other than Suge Knight. Big U watched Suge closely, and he didn't just admire the music game moves. He studied the power plays. Suge wasn't just running Death Row Records, he ran it like a full-blown mafia boss. Violence, fear, and muscle were part of the brand. And Big U, he took notes. While Suge was getting tangled up in legal mess after legal mess, Big U was making his own power moves. In 1996, he launched unique music with his right-hand man, Mark Martin, better known as Bear Claw. Their web of connections was deep. That's how Big U ended up locking eyes on a young, raw talent straight from his own neighborhood. Nipsey Hussle. Nip wasn't just some random rapper, he was tight with Big U's nephew. And with Big U having industry pull, he plugged Nip right into the game. One of the biggest moments? Nipsey landing on Tupac's posthumous 2006 album Pac's Life. On the track International. That was huge. Imagine seeing your name next to Pac's on a CD when you're still grinding in the streets. It gave Nipsey serious clout. Big U kept backing him heavy. Pushing his Bullets Ain't Got No Name mixtape series, making sure Nip had chances to shine. But behind the scenes, things were already starting to get messy. Word is, Nip got locked into a 10-year production contract with Big U's label. And by 2009, he was trying hard to shake free. Tension started bubbling. According to Big U himself, the real fallout kicked off during a promo tour. Cops pulled over one of their rides, found drugs, and someone in the crew took the charge. Ended up doing life. After that, Big U claims the vibe shifted. People, especially Nip, started acting distant. He felt like the loyalty was gone, the trust broken. That's when Big U began to distance himself from the crew. But here's where it gets even wilder.
I'm on a phone. He FaceTimed me. So he FaceTimed me and stuff like that. He was like, Nipsey just got killed. So I'm like, 6 I didn't hear that. So I hang up with him. I called Nipsey and I'm like, Nipsey, what's up? He was like, oh, what's up with it?
Nipsey answered.
Nipsey answered. He answered the phone. And I was like, I love you, cuz, or whatever like that.
Did you tell him the call you just got? Or you didn't even mention it?
I didn't mention it. And that's what fucked me up. So after I talked to Nipsey and I was like, yeah, I love you, cuz, or whatever like that. I'll see you later or whatever. So I hung up the phone. I thought Big U gave wrong information. 30 minutes later, the homies blowing me up like they just killed Nipsey.
Tour to move drugs between cities, turning rap shows into transport routes. It's a bold accusation. But those close to the situation say Nip wasn't with it. As his fame started rising, he was trying to pull away from the street side of things. He wanted to build something real, without all the extra heat. That clash of paths, street empire versus legit stardom, may have been the start of the true fallout between Nip and Big U. When Nipsey tried to finally break away and distance himself, Big U wasn't having it. Word is he asked Nip to return the studio equipment, said it was for his son. Sounds simple, right? But that small request, it set Nip off. That's when he clapped back with a diss track called You Don't Got a Clue, and he didn't hold back at all. Nip let all the frustration pour out. He said his team didn't push him hard enough, didn't deserve the credit they were taking, and weren't really down for him when it mattered. He made it clear he was done with middlemen. He was taking his career into his own hands and cutting ties with anyone slowing him down. And that's when things went full-blown hood soap opera. Luce Cannon says Big U rolled up on Nip and tried to press him. Nip responded by throwing water on him. Then, according to the story, Nip challenged him to a one-on-one, bobbing and weaving so hard that Big U was spinning in circles trying to catch him, like something straight out of a cartoon. But it didn't end with just that face-off. Big U wasn't satisfied. He allegedly called in backup to discipline Nip, and that led to Nipsey getting jumped by the crew. It got so wild that Black Sam had to fire shots in the air just to break it up. Cops pulled up, folks got cuffed, and it turned into a full incident. Then Whack 100 chimed in, claiming Big U actually knocked Nip out during that fight, and that this was one of their first major fallouts. Whether you believe Luce, Whack 100, or Big U himself, one thing's crystal clear. This wasn't just a music beat. This was about power, control, street politics, and two completely different visions for how Nipsey's career should evolve. And here's the twist. All this drama was bubbling behind the scenes at a time when Nipsey was finally getting his flowers. He was being honored with the Businessman Award for building his empire from the ground up. One of the speakers talked about visiting Nip's old spot, how he had a mic in the closet, grinding out tracks in a tiny room with nothing but hustle. From humble beginnings to big dreams, but the streets never fully let go. The whole room was on their feet, clapping, showing love, giving Nipsey his flowers. It was a powerful moment, giving him credit for everything he built. But right when it looked like things were all good, the energy shifted. Back in the day, Big U used to walk Nip on stage, and Nip would always give him props right back. He saw Big U as a real hood OG, someone who motivated the crew to stay sharp, move smart, and keep their eyes on the bigger picture. Loyalty meant everything to Nipsey. He always said it. If he was walking into a room, his day ones were walking in too. no exceptions. That respect between Nip and Big U, it was loud, public, and strong, especially leading up to Nipsey's huge breakout moment in 2018 with his debut studio album, Victory Lap. That album was major, and during the promo run, Nip shouted out Big U once again, like the past drama was buried. It really looked like things were patched up. But then came March 2019, and the peace didn't last. Word on the street is Nipsey brought DJ Khaled to the Rollin 60s neighborhood to film the Higher music video. But he didn't check in with Big U, and supposedly, Big U wasn't feeling that at all. Rumors flew that Big U sent some younger Rollin 60s to stir up drama at the video shoot. Things got so tense, Nip and Khaled had to move locations, ending the shoot in the parking lot instead of where they originally planned. Now TMZ tried to spin it differently. Their sources said Nipsey was already getting threats before filming even started, which is why his security was extra deep. Others claimed the beef wasn't about Big U at all. They said it had more to do with old friction between the Rollin 60s and the Inglewood Bloods. According to that side, some outsiders just saw an opportunity to rob Khaled. Nothing personal. Later on, Black Sam confirmed that someone did press them at the shoot, but he didn't name names. He just said the team stood tall and made it crystal clear nobody was touching Khaled while they were around. The whole situation showed just how shaky the streets still were, even when Nipsey was at the top of his game. Then, just a few days later, tragedy hit hard. Nipsey Hussle was shot and killed right outside his Marathon clothing store, right there in his own Rollin 60s neighborhood. The shooter? Eric Holder, another Rollin 60s member, allegedly mad because Nipsey had called him a snitch. But here's where the story gets crazy. Eric Holder wasn't just some random, he had ties to a bunch of names tangled up in this whole mess, including Brick Baby, who, by the way, is now tied up in that new RICO indictment after Nipsey's murder. Once Nipsey was gone, the theories started flying all over the place, and a lot of people started seriously side-eyeing Big U. One reason? Big U couldn't keep his story straight. At first, he said he was on 6th Avenue with the whole block shut down, waiting for the UK to call when he got the news that Nip got hit. So they raced over to the scene. But later, Big U jumped on IG Live and said he wasn't even in town that day. People caught the slip up quick, and they didn't forget it. Then there's another shady piece to this puzzle. Nipsey had signed a 10-year production deal with Big U's label back in 2009. That contract, it was about to expire in 2019. The same year Nip got killed. And word on the streets was that Nipsey wasn't planning on re-signing. Motive? Some people sure think so. And get this, Big U didn't even show up to Nipsey's funeral. Not a word, not a visit, nothing. Then during one of Big U's IG lives, when someone dropped a comment saying justice for Nip, Big U laughed and brushed it off like it was no big deal. The nerve. But the very next day, after Nipsey's death, Big U posted a tribute online, saying he was heartbroken. Even claimed the last time he spoke to Nip was 3 days earlier at the DJ Khaled video shoot. That had people scratching their heads because no one had mentioned Big U even being at the shoot until he said it. So now the questions got even louder. Was Big U trying to cover something up? Was he trolling? Or was there way more to the story than anybody knew? Either way, the streets stayed buzzing. The internet stayed talking, and the whispers about Big U's possible involvement, they haven't stopped since. We're gonna find out real soon what's what. Big U's trial is officially locked in for May 20th, 2025, and he's not out on bail. The judge slammed that door shut, called him a straight-up flight risk and a danger to the community. They're not playing around, especially with how violent these charges are. And on top of that, there's heavy evidence that Big U was trying to cover his tracks too. If he gets found guilty on everything he's facing, he could be staring at life in prison. Some of these charges alone carry up to 30 years each. Stack them up, and it's a wrap. Now, what are the odds he actually beats this case? Honestly, it's looking real bad. The feds didn't just roll in half-stepping. They came locked, loaded, and ready. They got it all. Witness testimonies, money trails, text messages, surveillance, wiretaps. It's a mountain of receipts. This whole thing is tied up in a massive 43-count indictment. And let's keep it all the way real. The feds don't usually swing unless they know they're gonna land a knockout punch. Word is they even got people inside the camp flipping and cooperating already. So nah, this ain't just some rumors anymore. It's official paperwork now. Big U's lawyer is out here trying to brush it off, calling the whole thing hearsay and innuendo. But let's be honest, who's really buying that? Even the judge said there's way too much evidence to just sweep under the rug. Now don't get it twisted. It's not a done deal just yet. Things could still shake up. If any key witnesses flake out or get shaky on the stand, it could shift the energy. And with this many charges flying around, you already know they're gonna press Big U to take a plea deal, which might shave some years off, but he'd have to admit to something major. And with the Fed's crazy high conviction rate, especially on RICO cases, the clock is ticking fast. So yeah, Big U's in deep. This trial could end up being the final chapter for him, depending on how it all plays out in court. Let me know what you think in the comments. Can Big U somehow pull off a miracle? Or is this really the beginning of the end? Make sure you like, subscribe, share the video, and tap in for the next one. See you soon.